Right, there we go. This is what I've kind of marked where his colouring is a little bit. Good morning, good afternoon, hello, whoever. I've done that. I've done that wrong again on the screen as well. Oh dear. I've done that twice today. There we go. But yes, I was blown away by the beauty of this bird. It's in the rain, which is why it's all a funny background and it's a bit streaky. But that's.
Are we doing the background like that?
Well, I think we will do a darkish background. It needs to be dark for the bird to stand out, doesn't it? So, I might tweak it a tad. I don't know. Absolutely.
Good to see you. How are you? Good.
And did you get your boiler sorted, Heather?
It's going to be done on the 2nd and 3rd of April.
See, my water and my hot water and boiler wasn't working this morning when I left, but sometimes the power cuts knock it out and then it just doesn't get started again. And the last time it didn't. There was slightly low water pressure, but my boiler's outside and I don't have access to it. Only my landlord does, so I can't tinker with it, I think. So I have to keep saying it is, but it's just and I don't like them coming into my house because my house is untidy. But I had to be at the dentist for 8, so I thought, do you know what? I'll see what it's like when I get home tonight. I'll tidy up and then tell them that I've got a problem with the boiler.
But mine keeps throwing the trip switch.
Right.
It's the clock.
I see.
It's the clock.
Yes.
Hello.
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 You're there. You're Derek.
That one. I am.
Yes.
Del.
Nice to meet you.
Everyone calls me Del.
Del. All right.
You?
I'm the teacher. I'm Barry.
You're the one I heard all about.
Oh well.
Huh?
Don't believe everything.
Okay.
Alternatively.
Because you're friends with Jane, aren't you?
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah. Unfortunately.
Did you get through?
Yes.
And
She thought you wanted the empty stand. But she hadn't charged you for it.
okay. So is she just sending
So
us?
she's going to extend the stock and charge you at the offer price.
Okay.
So I just said yesterday.
How did you trade for them?
And did you say should we have another 10? Another 10 pallets.
I didn't say that. I
Okay.
just thought it was going to confuse her and we need the stock for that thing because it's just empty. And
Yes.
I've had 16
Okay.
years. I don't think I can do it tomorrow.
plus you'll end up in too much debt for him to
So have you finished?
Yeah, yeah.
Okay, thank you. Yeah, yeah.
I thought we mentioned paint, but
well, because I've been having that discussion with him further up in email, like in a different email, not the one because he didn't
No.
carry on my thread.
no.
But the one I was saying, I was like talking about the special offer price for the thing. So
Well, but they deal with a lot of people,
I
so
do,
maybe
yeah,
they
I
just
know,
didn't.
She's just having a bad day.
Oh, she's having a bad couple of weeks because she didn't
Yeah,
send
but
the
you don't know
stand
what's
either.
going on.
No,
You don't
absolutely.
know. I'll just try and be nice to her.
So we're getting the stock,
Yes.
but that won't be this week then.
It is. She
Oh.
said she can hopefully get it to you tomorrow or the next, or
There isn't a next day.
tomorrow or Tuesday. But she thinks probably tomorrow.
Okay. Well, I hope so. I mean, you
Yeah.
can if you want to transpose the. Oh, you're going in a minute.
So on his head, Barry.
Yes. I've marked where very lightly where the blue bit is, the white bit, and the orange bit.
And
So I've marked on the main areas of colour. The other subtle bits I haven't worried about. Because a lot of it we'll do wet in wet and stuff. So Del, have you done watercolour before?
No.
No. Okay.
The thing about it was, I mean, I've done acrylic.
Hmm.
I didn't know what's the best to do.
Okay.
I mean, I'm not brilliant. You know, it's taken me 16 years to do one picture.
Okay.
So you're 2 hours.
Yeah, you've got 2 hours today.
And,
We're not thorough.
enough time to pick my pencil.
Yeah.
So, no, I wasn't sure what to do because I've never done watercolour.
No.
And I don't know what to do.
Okay. I mean, they are very different to acrylics. Technically, watercolours are the most difficult.
Watercolour.
Yeah, because because they're transparent, you have to work from light to dark. So you put your lighter colours down and then gradually build up your darks. Whereas with acrylics, you can put anything on top of anything. But some people still prefer watercolour to acrylics. They like the way it works.
As I haven't done very much painting
Yeah.
for 74 years,
Mm.
I possibly thought that acrylic might be wiser to start off with.
But yeah, acrylic can be a good one to start with because you can do anything with it. It's more forgiving than watercolour. But see how you get on today and see what it's like.
So what am I going to do?
This is watercolour today.
Oh, it's watercolour.
It's watercolour today. Yeah.
Alright, well I wasn't sure when I spoke to, is it Jackie?
Jackie, yeah.
I wasn't really sure actually.
Yeah, so
Yeah,
today,
sure.
yeah, Thursdays is
I
Thursday
didn't
afternoons is
realise
watercolour.
there was a definition for different.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
I just thought it was all in one.
Yeah, no, we do each day or segment of a day is a specific medium but different subjects.
Okay.
But this is a good one to do actually because it gets you used to all the watercoloriness, just to see how you get on with it, and then I mean that's why we do these classes that you can dip in and dip out of, because we get people trying all sorts of things.
Yeah.
And then they decide, yeah, I don't like that, but I like that, or I like that, but I don't like doing that subject matter, but I like doing that subject matter. So it's all good.
You didn't put the white bit in, did you, underneath his beak?
I've kind of marked where I want it to be, but I haven't done it in detail because of it'll be the background that shows that up, won't it?
Did you know Adrian Henry?
Who?
Adrian Henry.
No. No. Not a name I'm familiar with.
Okay. Is Roger McGough?
Roger McGough, yes. The poet.
Yeah. Adrian Henry's a friend.
Oh, okay.
I used to go to Adrian Henry's when I was a kid to the party.
Oh, lovely.
I think Adrian Henry's the one who put a fridge on the wall that takes.
Ah, okay.
You left the door open.
And what about, you know, the blue bits of his
Wings.
wings?
No, because the blue's going to go on first, isn't it? So we can work the black around it, the darker tones. Well, it's more purple than black, isn't it? That it's like a blacky purple.
Gorgeous colours.
Yeah.
Really beautiful. You can tell that it's You can tell it is a Kingfisher of sort, can't you? But also you can see how they're related to the kookaburra, because it feels very. Let's see where they're native.
Got the rubber there, dear, haven't I? Yes, I've left mine with the pencil, so typical.
I said yes.
Typical.
Ah, that's Australian.
Yeah.
Oh no, Southeast Asia. Sorry, Southeast Asia.
Thank you.
Southeast Asia.
Lives off geckos, crabs, snails, frogs, and spiders.
Well, I bet his breath stinks.
Yeah. Oh, there are two versions of this bird. There is the Oriental Dwarf Kingfisher. There is the black-backed version, and then you've got an overall pinkish coral one, which has got to be this one, hasn't it? Because of the pinks and purples on the back.
That's a cool bird.
It is lovely. It doesn't look real. It's a rainy picture, so that's why you've got those weird streaks running down it.
It doesn't look real, but it is real. I've
It
double-checked.
is real. That Jackie has checked, because you can't tell nowadays when you see things
Is it
what's
real?
real and
No,
what's
it's real.
not real.
It is real.
most of the time. I think I can generally get AI, but it has got a very out of focus background, which is what you see with AI. But the rain gives it away, I think, that it's real.
Right, I'm gonna go.
And he's not Disney-ified enough.
What's she wearing? Should have that.
Gonna post your parcel.
Well, thank you.
I'm just going to sort of, oh, I don't know.
And then hopefully he'll be back tomorrow.
I will.
Who knows?
No, nobody knows. But
Just make it
hopefully,
blend.
hopefully.
Be blending. Be blending.
How's your mouth?
It's alright. I'm having to keep trying to put my jaw back in. Thank you. Gonk.
She might have done it a bit better than you had it there.
No.
You've got to be nice to Barry today because of his dental procedures. You've got to be kind.
Just be kind.
You mean no teasing?
Oh, you can tease him, but just gently.
Gentle teasing. It's all wearing off now.
There's anaesthetics all worn off.
You did these bits on you.
I didn't actually. I was alright this morning, wasn't I?
No, you were good.
I was quite good. She's very good actually, the dentist.
Brilliant dentist. I recommend her. I
I
have to say
couldn't-
mine.
I couldn't feel anything, but then as it wore off, I could feel exactly where she jabbed me. But I've had 2 fillings, you see, one at the front and one at the back. So I've had to have double numbing, so it's not like one injection does it all.
The one I really hate is the one the front teeth where they go.
Yeah, well, yeah, I had a filling on that one, but she jabbed me somewhere there. But that one was all right. The only thing I was saying to Heather, I had a minor panic attack in the dentist. 40 minutes in, though, I did really well.
Yeah.
But they were working on the back tooth, and they'd put a wedge in my mouth, which I had no control, and I kept thinking I couldn't swallow. But also, my nostrils had gone numb at that point because of the front filling, and I couldn't feel air coming in.
Oh, right.
So I felt like I wasn't breathing. Clearly I was, but I was like, I need that out. And I was thinking, oh God, I'm going to have to get up. I can't breathe. I can't swallow. But I was all right. I stayed in the seat. But she gave me a minute. And I said, I am ever so sorry. My brain thinks I'm about to die.
She's used to sensitive types, I'm sure.
And I said, I do. Bye, thank you. I do feel a fool because I don't actually mind the dentist. I don't mind it at all. But if you notice, I haven't got a tie on today because I can't be in the chair and I can't feel pressure here because I feel like I can't swallow or breathe.
You were on the track.
Yes. It's disgusting, isn't it?
Well, be pleased to know I've been able to sort out the rows of watercolours that I need.
Oh yeah. Do you know what? We've just been discussing this stand. We've had the stand delivered today.
Oh, cool.
However,
It's too big.
no, they thought we just wanted the stand and they haven't sent the flipping paint.
Oh, gosh.
84 colours we're supposed to have. So they're sending that again either tomorrow or next week.
The only ones I wanted, really, were the ones that were missing on that palette,
Yes.
which was burnt sienna and Payne's grey.
And when is it you're going?
I've got them now. for
Yeah.
May,
May.
7th of April.
Oh, you're going in April.
Yeah, the whole of May, the whole of April.
Wow.
And I want to see birds this colour.
I think you, yeah, how the chances of you seeing them. Where is it you're going?
Costa Rica.
Costa Rica.
And
Lots of parrots, and is it?
I think so. And the Galapagos Islands.
Oh, my putty rubber's just falling in my cup of tea.
We're not talking to you anymore, Dean. Shut up. We're all jealous.
I'm not
I'm
jealous.
jealous of me.
Banbury's lovely. I'm just scooping my putty rubber out my cup of tea. It's just falling in. My putty rubber's in my tea. It's just dive bombed in there. So I'm just getting.
Dry the trees yesterday.
You
That
did
was wonderful.
good.
Yeah, I wish I'd gone to that class instead of the portrait. Flipping heck.
You did really well.
Thank you. But
We haven't seen it on Facebook.
no, I should have. I haven't done it yet. I don't know why I got busy last
It was a
night.
young person,
No,
a young, attractive lady. It was lovely to do, but it was hard because the wrinkles really do help.
No wrinkles and a shed load of makeup.
But yeah, we were having to put
A few of mine
we were having to put makeup on it. You see.
When I looked at it, I thought, oh my God, how are they ever going to do that?
We did it. think we're going to have to do the background first on this, aren't we?
I was thinking that.
Which is wet in wet, which is annoying.
Why?
Well, it's
I
because
thought
it's a
when I
big
looked
it's a big area, isn't it?
Yeah, when I looked this morning, I thought, oh, I wonder if they'll give us a coloured piece of paper.
No chance.
Not with watercolours.
No
So
such
you'd
luck.
never get them true, would you?
No.
No, that's
When you put
true.
them on different, you'd never get a decent orange. if you-
Well, no, it'd all look brown.
Yeah.
And whatever colour, if you'd used a green background, all the oranges would look brown.
Yeah.
Unless you use gouache for everything. And I'll need to show you which colours are which, won't I, for the day? Yes. Well, I mean, there's only 12 colours, but because we use so many different ones, and I've forgotten because I read this morning. So both reds, so that's your cadmium red, that's your crimson, cadmium yellow, ultramarine, and I think it's those two, your brown and your blacks.
What's this blue called?
I think that's a cobalt blue, but it's lighter than a cobalt blue, so it's nearer a
Six colours, then, is it?
cerulean.
Yeah.
One, two, three, four, five, six.
No, six. There
Yeah,
is six.
it's six.
isn't there? Yeah.
It is six. It's a very vibrant background, isn't it? It's an almost viridian green background, which I hate, but it is there.
It's getting that colour right, isn't it?
Yeah, well, I'm going to be happy with any colour, to be fair, any sort of green tone.
Any sort of green.
And it's going to be quite a dark green anyway, because we've got ultramarine and cadmium yellow, so that will make a dullish green. And then probably a bit of
Too bright, 'cause
Payne's
it'll
grey.
take away from the bird.
Absolutely, but we need it dark enough
Yeah.
for the white bits to stand out, because that beak is really quite pale orange at the top where the light's hitting it, isn't it? So a couple more minutes to finish your sketching, and then we'll whack some colour on.
And,
And you're going into the green. I think
Well, I think, yeah, I'm going to wet, because we've got this branch, that the one saving grace for us is that we have got a large expanse to wet, which is all of this, but we can do that bit and then that bit separately underneath. If we tried to do it all together, it would have been quite good if there was something stopping the beak there, because then we could have done that bit
yeah.
and that bit, but such is life, we can't. So I'm just going to soak my big brush while we're waiting, just to keep it in, so we can it can absorb.
dark at the top, isn't it?
It is really dark. It often makes me wonder at these kind of things what an unfocused background looks like, because we were doing what was I doing? I was doing a woodpecker in acrylics on Monday, even though I kept calling it a kingfisher. And it was funny because they actually said, can we do a kingfisher? And I'd forgotten that, so I did a woodpecker, but then still kept calling it a kingfisher. Where is it? Is that in here? So we did, this is in acrylics. Whoa. And that was a really interesting background because of it being more purple down there and green at the top. I mean, this was just a 45-minute, 50-minute demo, so it's not perfect. But it was interesting how that was the opposite. The green was above, not below. And we were wondering if it was maybe an out of focus building or something that was causing that.
Lake of some
Yeah.
description.
So this is clearly foliage, isn't it? But it's weird having that because it's not black, and it's sort of purplish, isn't it? That top bit, like a purpley grey at the top corner. Very similar colour to his wings, actually. The dark tone on his wings.
Yeah.
So if I get my big brush, and we're gonna really, so hopefully you've stuck your paper down. We're gonna wet around the kingfisher and the branch. We're just gonna do the top part. Big brush, loads of water. Loads of water. Obviously we're not giving it a bath, but we need enough so it doesn't run out or dry out by the time we've gone in. So if you're going to, well, generally we work, if we're right-handed, we work from left to right, don't we? So wet the right side more than your left side, because that means it's going to take longer to dry out by the time we get there. I tend to find, actually, that I have to do 2 wets. The first wetting almost prepares the paper. The second wetting wets the paper. Because it's amazing how quickly the first one dries out. I think that might be it. Yes. So I will print out the colours on your set out. So we're going to be using that blue and that yellow to start with. Right. So we're going to mix ultramarine and cadmium yellow to make a yellowy green to start with.
It would have been easier to do a black purple.
It would, absolutely, at night. So I'm going to do yellowy green, cadmium yellow, and you can flick in his head to give those feathery bits. And what's great about this is that obviously it doesn't have to be a perfect mix because of it all being natural. So I'm going to cut into the feathers in his head. Now a reminder, watercolour dries 30% lighter. I might actually do all the greeny bits first. It's wonderful, this brush.
That yellow and that blue. Use this entire. That's a mixing.
Okay, that yellow and that blue.
That yellow and that blue.
What's wrong with that one?
That blue outside one.
And then do you know what? I think I am going to mix a purple from the same blue and then the bright red while it's wet, just for the top. I'm feeling very daring. Everybody did well with their trees yesterday, didn't they, Marie?
Yes, they did. Very good colour.
I have been known to do a few of those in my time. Just a few. Oh, that purple's right, just right. Ultramarine, a bit of cadmium red.
So what have you put in to make the
Ultramarine and cadmium red, so your brighter red. And it's sort of, it goes a bit greyish when mixed with the green, so it's a perfect mix, really. Almost like I know what I'm doing. Almost. Oh, what's the matter? Oh, don't forget, I'm drinking tea that my putty eraser's sloshed around in, and I had to get an old ruler to ferry it out, so I've got all goodness knows what's in my tea. I'm just rolling the brush around in it, so it just gives a nice mottled background. And I might be brave and just wallop the green mix straight in at the underneath bit, because that's all separate. It's just so yeah. I think the trouble is you can get really carried away, can't you? And then
So you wet the bottom as well?
well, I didn't wet the bottom. I just slapped it on really quickly and hope for the best. Because the only problem is with this wet background is you've got to do it while it's wet. Everything else we can spend more time with, but we've got to wait for the colours to stay wet with this, which is a little bit annoying. But then it should get a little bit easier from here on in. No refunds if it doesn't though.
I've never known you offer refunds.
I don't, that's why.
I'm going to say refunds.
That brings me out in a rash, that word. It is nice, isn't it? When it works, when it does what it needs to. I think I want to get some toothbrushes out. I'm just going to shoot in. And I'll straddle my chair. To get too excited.
I'm trying.
Is that your brush going?
Yeah, absolutely.
Because I'm guessing
To-
you're going
to
to want
make
to
it
What the sort of looks like
Well,
black
we're
paint
playing with
spray
that, yes.
into it and added it up at the top.
Or you could make a purpley colour as well if you wanted to warm
So
it
we
up.
say, I'm adding which,
So it's quicker if you want to just add a bit of the blackish colour.
to add to that,
Yeah.
yeah,
And
and
then
that's
put
going,
that's going up this end, this dark bit here.
oh right, okay.
Or you could make a purple out of the blue and red to put
But then
there.
you use a lot of purple and red there, aren't you?
Yeah.
That'd probably be wide enough to, okay.
And all I'm doing as this is drying is I'm getting this toothbrush and spattering a bit of water on it just for a bit of fun.
Spattering water.
As it starts to dry. And what that does is it just gives us a speckled background. It will show up more. It's a bit too wet at the moment. You're better off doing it when it's drying rather than dry or too wet. So we'll get there.
Oh, I got it just right on the bottom.
Oh yeah.
I think this is how white goulash is. Barry, let me one if you want to borrow it. No, I've got one. Right.
If it's too wet,
This is
nothing.
top and bottom, is it?
Yeah, if it's too wet, nothing will happen.
What, the toothbrush?
No, if your paint's too wet, nothing will happen.
Got toothpaste on it.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think it's still too wet. It's doing
Yeah, it's
anything.
too wet, I think.
I think I went to town with the water.
Oh, a bit wet. Got to wait for it really to dry, haven't you?
Yeah, dry a bit though.
Really?
If it's too dry, nothing happens. I got that one just right.
Mm.
Yeah, too wet and it just turns everything else into runny paint. Too dry and you get nothing. There's just that sweet spot as it starts to. Do you know cauliflowering will work really well for this background? It's yeah, because you want it to be a something of nothing kind of background. But I know this is slightly too wet for the spatter. But if I got the hairdryer on it, then it'd be too dry. Within seconds, it would be too dry. So we've got loads of time. We've still got an hour and a half, and we've only got a bird and a branch to do. No problem. Could do it with your eyes shut, couldn't you?
Absolutely. Mine's looking very hairy.
I've only done his hairy head. But if we haven't, we can use a bit of white gouache maybe with the orangey colour. There's just so many colours in that, isn't it? You've got the orange, you've got the coral, you've got the purples, the blues, the greys, the magentas. But I bet when it's flying, if it was flying overhead, you wouldn't see any of this because it's on his back. I bet the wings aren't colourful underneath because they're the brown bits, aren't they? The purpley grey.
Yeah.
So you'd see the colour of his chest, which I don't know what colour it is. I'll have to see if I can find a front version. Bright yellow. Oh, is it bright yellow?
Oh, you can see a bit of it, can't you?
Yes.
On that left side.
Yeah.
Mind you, our Kingfisher's beautiful, isn't it? Its cousin, but they're definitely related to the kookaburra. And I think you can do, but we can just wait. There's no big rush. We can chill for a bit, Marie. So it doesn't feel like full on pressure, you know. Just for today. While I convalesce my fillings. It's not the fillings I'm convalescing, it's the £280 I had to spend on them. So that's like nearly £600 I've spent on 3 teeth this month. Well, it is a lot. Well, I haven't got any. I don't have it spare. The annoying thing is I had to book my service and MOT for the end of this month, and I had to pay for that up front. So if there's anything that's needs fixing on my car, I don't know where that money's coming from, and it's starting to feel a little bit on its way out. It sounds in damp weather. It sounds like it's powered by gerbils. When I lock the car, it makes an awful noise, and the garage have said it works fine. It'll cost more than your car's worth to fix, so we'll leave it. But that does mean if I sit in my car a little bit longer after I've pulled up, I can't always get out. I have to lock the car, then unlock the car to get out. And now it's starting to do. Every time I turn right, the wheel's starting to squeak a little bit. But you know, we're good friends, me and my car, and I just tell it off, and I'll say, "Will you just behave yourself?" Because they'll be fiddling with you if they keep. It's going to cost me more money. Stop squeaking. But I do know it definitely needs new windscreen wipers and potentially new number plates that have been on the watch list for 5 years. It's just cracked. They're all cracked like crazy paving.
Windscreen wipers are worth getting.
Yeah. When I take it in, because it's at Halfords, so they've got all the stuff there. I'll just say it does need new windscreen wipers.
Please put them on.
Put them on before you do the test.
Yeah.
But I'll have to remember to take my phone charger out, because my phone charger and case, it's all in one. I got Aldi $3.99, and it's a phone case that clips on. You can either clip it onto your windscreen, clip it onto your dash, or clip it onto your air vent.
Yeah.
But it also charges your phone plugged into the. So it means that if I've got the sat nav on on my phone and the power plugged in,
it just keeps going.
it still charges. I don't need a separate thing, so it charges it automatically. It's really good for $3.99. Amazing. You've got to get it in the right angle for it to pick up the back of your phone, because with smartphones they can charge them from the underside as well, can't you? There's the magnetic chargy thing. So that was brilliant, and it's been amazing while I drive into gigs and what have you. So I'll have to take that out of the air vent, because I think that they don't like that, do they? They don't like things plugged into the air vent and stuff, or hanging from the wing mirror thing.
No, I don't know.
Have to take your
I'll
dice
try.
out then.
Yeah, my fuzzy dice and my Cheryl and Kevin stickers across the top. I've also got to try and clean it a little bit, because the inside's a bit filthy. The outside, I'm actually helping combat carbon neutral stuff, because I've got that much moss on my car. But what I did do the other morning, when it was really heavy rain, I went out with a scrubbing brush and I just scrubbed off all the really big dirt off the top, and the rain washed it off. It's a natural car wash, you see, Heather.
Snow is the best natural.
But I've kept the moss, because I just kind of like driving around with a bit of moss. Yes, I've got moss along the sill and on the roof part of my car, where, because it's like a flat back where the brake lights and rear tail lights are. I've got some lovely moss on that. I've left that. That's beautiful moss. But I did work out that, you know, with all the spates of car break-ins and stuff, if your car looks like it's on its way out, nobody bothers with it.
Yeah.
So I think, you know, and then I always park it on its own. I never park where in a car park. I won't park next to other cars. I leave it by itself because nobody will fiddle with it if they're in clear view. But when you're amongst other cars, they can get alongside and around there. I don't drive a special car. It's only a Nissan Note.
Sometimes
But
they're breaking into. I had my car broken into, and they took my coat. But rude, they looked at my CDs and they didn't take them.
really,
Just left them.
can't get anything for them on eBay. I know. I think if they broke into my car, they might just leave me their car in sympathy.
Well, where I come from, they, you know, you get if you go into the city in Liverpool, you have your car pins because 1 out of 5 will get your car pins.
Blimey.
And my family had so many cars pinned because we have a warehouse in Liverpool city centre on docks. But in the end, we got a pink 2CV with flowers on it, and
Nobody
kid is
touched it.
gonna
No,
pinch
no, absolutely. That's really true. That is. We had at the primary school I worked in. One of the walls in the playground was painted pink, and what we found with the naughty boys, if we made them have time out, stand by the pink wall, they were never naughty, because none of the boys wanted to stand in front of a pink wall. So you didn't have to do anything.
Stand in front of the big wall and I'll take your photo.
Yeah. I've got a few patchy bits, but it's starting to dry quite nicely now. Watercolour does have a life of its own, Dale.
It certainly does. I really think
It's not an easy one, is it?
I'm going back to being postman passive, and I'm going to start all over again.
It's fine. It'll be okay. I mean, this is only the incidental stuff.
The Oriental stuff, isn't it?
Yeah, absolutely. I do like that little twiggies on, because they've got to be a similar size to the Kingfisher, haven't they? So that it'll be smaller than it is in the photo.
Oh yeah. It's probably about 5 inches tall.
Cute little things. You can't believe that they're so small. Yet everything, you know,
Everything works.
everything works absolutely, and they've got their own little lives and going about their little day. I think we've got Paul with us today. I know, not quite. I know Judy's. Judy will be watching later. I can't believe they didn't send us the paint. The whole point. I said to Jackie when she said, "Oh, your stand's here," because we ordered it ages ago and then it was out of stock.
Yeah.
And then I mentioned it to them and they said, "Oh, we're getting a delivery in of the stands in a week," and that was 3 weeks ago. So I messaged them the other day and I said, "I'm just wondering, anything? Oh, I'm really sorry. It'll be posted today." And I thought, you've forgotten, haven't you? You've forgotten, and you've also forgotten that I needed paint.
Yeah.
Because there was an offer on the stand, and that's the only reason I bought it.
Yeah.
But apparently Jackie spoke to her and she thought we just wanted the stand. Because I really need another stand in the shop. It's just there with 4 colours in. Never mind.
That's the colours I wanted, so that was
That's not a problem at all. I've just got to find where to pop this stand now. But it's beautiful.
a really nice one.
It's a nice stand. It's a nice flat but tall, but it means that I can fit the tins underneath, the box tins. And I've only gone for the pans rather than the tubes,
Yeah.
because the pans are cheaper, but they're full pans. You know, £2.50 for a full pan of artist quality paint. It's amazing. and it is a nice paint, and it's Ukrainian, which is also good.
Yeah.
But it's crazy that, you know, when you look at Winsor and Newton half pans artist quality, you're now looking at between £7 and £14 depending on the colour for a half pan. Like, so cadmiums and ceruleans, because they've got cadmium in it, you're looking at about £14 for a half pan
For a half pan.
of artist quality, whereas this is Ukrainian full pan artist quality, £2.50.
That's ridiculous.
So, you know, as much as we would love and try our hardest to support British, it shouldn't be cheaper for me to buy paint from Ukraine that's in the middle of a war than it should from a British brand that only makes paint. It's absolutely insane, isn't it?
Yeah, it is.
I mean, we tried to. I mean, there's a lot of things that we struggle. There's hardly any paper made in this country now because there's only 2 paper mills. So it's hard to support British brands when the British brands are now manufacturing abroad and charging a lot more for it. Because Winsor & Newton's all France. Dale Rowney's the whole Commonwealth. So it's just all.
Oh, well, we put it to rights.
Yeah.
We
Definitely
did.
gone to the pot now. Died. I think that's the same.
Apparently we had an intruder in our garden last night.
Oh, did you?
There was I knew there was something going on because the helicopter was circling
Ooh.
What did you have?
an intruder.
In your back garden?
Yes.
Organ.
And Neil was not. Well, I didn't see him. Neil said that
If you want out, look out.
he'd let the dog back in, and his dog's stupid anyway. But the dog clearly hadn't had any intruder didn't bother his dog at all, which doesn't surprise me. because
A lot of the times when they're in the
he's
gardens, they're
genuinely stupid.
just hiding, aren't they, from police presence?
And apparently he was going from garden to garden.
Was it daytime or night?
No, night time. Well, I mean, I knew nothing about it last night. They have had a hell of a job because all our fences are at least 5 foot high.
Wow.
You know,
Sign him up for the Olympics.
he really would have had to have been a little bit limber,
Yeah.
but he was going from garden to garden apparently.
Yeah, I won't be doing that, I think.
And then
Just trying to get over a fence.
they knew what direction he was travelling in,
Yes.
and at the bottom of the road they cornered him. So,
They probably had the heat seeky thing on, didn't they?
well, they had the camera up
Yeah. Clever
because you
kid.
can't get into our back gardens. They're
No,
very
that's what I was going to
solid.
say. I didn't think you. There's no
No.
ginnel at the back or anything, is
No.
there?
No, there's no side access, which is in pain if you need to take stuff
Mm.
in and out of your garden. But I tell you what, he'd have had to have been a little bit limber to have done that,
And in the dark,
and in the dark.
unless he was using the police spotlight to help him find where the fences are.
It's the first and only time it's ever happened.
Wow.
Because I would have said our garden was completely safe.
Mm.
Because I mean, it's got a 5 foot 6 foot high fence all the way around it.
That's impressive.
As
5
have
foot
all-
6.
Sorry,
5 foot 6.
Yeah.
5 or 6.
5 or 6. 5 or
It's
6
quite
foot.
easy to get up though, isn't it? Really, 5 to 6
It might
foot.
be if you're bigger than me. I couldn't.
Well,
do
no,
it.
for someone younger. I'm talking about.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I suppose once you've got your hand on and you can pivot, and most people have got things to stand on, haven't
And
they?
they're quite good quality fences.
Yes.
Apparently, what you need to put at the top of the fences is trellis.
Yes, because
They don't like
they're and they're
trellis.
really flimsy.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Gone are the days where you could put barbed wire up there, couldn't you?
Or
Not
broken
bad,
broken
The
glass.
school I went to had great big high brick walls. Glass.
Yeah. There's
embedded in the top.
the buildings that back onto the old auctioneer car park in that, some of them have got cemented glass in from
Yeah.
a long time ago, but nobody lives there. It was up for auction yesterday actually. The guide price was £100,000 for that little sandwich shop, but it's huge,
Which one?
right opposite the
Oh,
empty
the very
one.
old one.
It's got living accommodation upstairs, and it goes way back. Plus, it's got a garden and a garage that backs onto the old auctioneer car park.
Well, so much for him keeping it for the value.
Yeah.
Because
And how much did it go for?
Well, I don't know how much. The guide price was 100,000, but it hasn't been. It's been empty ever since I've been here. I mean, that sandwich shop. It opened briefly, but what the land. I'm only waffling while we're waiting for the paint to dry. The landlord wanted to sell it, but he wouldn't sell it at a reduced price, even though it needed a lot of work. He rented it out, and the people renting it wanted to rent it at a lower price to do it up for him. And after a month, he said no. So he kicked them out. So it's just been sitting empty for over a decade. The pigeons constantly get in.
Yeah.
There's the pipes. Oh, I think if you spent at least another £100,000 to £200,000,
Yeah.
you'd get it right. But you've got to have an awful lot of money to do it. It's a lovely old building,
Yeah.
but you've really got to spend a fortune
Yeah.
to do it. You couldn't move in. You certainly couldn't live in it to do
No.
it up. Oh, I've got someone in the shop. I'll be back in a minute.
Tea.
Well, I could do that. All right then. Do you know what? Just to shut you up, I'll do it. Marie, what are you having? Decaf cappuccino. Madam, a chote.
Please.
A normal cappuccino. Del, what would you like?
Sorry, I was
Coffee. Coffee, tea.
No,
No, you're all right.
thank you.
Okay.
I've got a coffee here.
Tea for Heather, with a slash of gin. And Bill, do you need a drink? Or are you all right?
Absolutely.
You're all right. I'll Irish it up for you. That's your whiskey, isn't it?
Oh, it's gorgeous, isn't it? It amazes me how different we all are. It's remarkable. I've got a weird
It's interesting.
room.
Oh yeah. Where did that come from?
I don't know, what did you do?
Oh, I didn't do anything.
Must have been
Is that when you was tipping it up and down?
It might have been.
Yeah.
I might have been fanning it out.
Yeah.
Bit cool, isn't it? I know, got an hour to do all that work. It'll be fine, Marie. It'll be absolutely fine.
That's orange and red, isn't it, on his hair?
Gorgeous, isn't it?
An orange would be even an oranger for his other bit.
I have got some.
Oh. I have a bit of that,
That
so
was,
you're making it
yeah,
up.
that was his pumpkin colour,
Yeah.
and I liked it. So it wasn't. I barely used it, but I liked it. Yeah, really expensive though. He's got to have the car MOT, get the insurance, pick up my new glasses. They were so.
Have you got to go back to the doctors or anything, nurse?
We've got to have the stitches out next on the 20th. Is that next Wednesday?
Yeah, I presume so, yeah.
That's when we take the stitches out. And he's got a telly lead conference. Telly lead. I'm assuming it's a telephone conference.
Oh, yeah, yeah.
And that's when they're in someone's yard. So
Yeah.
he says it's itching. Which I think is good. The stuff's healing, it's itchy.
Most things are itchy as they're healing.
Yeah, so I think that's good. No evidence of any redness of skin. It's not hurting. So I think it's just getting on with healing.
Yeah.
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 We should be fine. That's all we want. So it was a hump on top, but it was also covered in
Yeah.
Yeah.
How do they do that then?
Well, this is the thing. I think they tack it down. You know, a bit like when you do quilting, you tack through
Yeah.
various layers. I think they tack it down
Right.
as they close it, and then they stitch it up, and then they put this bandage on, which, honest to God, looks like an iceberg. And I think it's a bit like a big sausage roll. I think it's pushing into the cavity, as well as
So
having
it-
a bump on the top. So I think it's pushing the skin.
Down. So
Down
you'll have a bit of a dent.
Yes, you'll have a dent, which may or may not fill up with time.
Yeah. Did they send it off?
Apparently, yeah. But the doctor was very, very blasé about it.
Yeah.
And she said, really, nah, normal. Yeah, I didn't see anything there to the body. Good, nothing at all. It was just one of these fatty lumps. And she actually said nothing there to worry, to make me worried. Which is good. I like that.
Definitely.
God, it was so fun for me.
I bet he was. But he was loving it.
Oh, it was hilarious. Absolutely.
Oh, as a kid.
She came back and spoke to him and talked to him. A long conversation. You can't remember getting back to Banbury on the phone.
But was he happy?
She gave him a letter. And the following day I said, well, if you look at the letter, did you know? Not a clue. Came back home and slept the whole evening in his chair. Then went to bed, slept the whole night. Woke up the next day, midday, he was asleep. I think it did. I mean, it hasn't had any pain. Genuinely, it hasn't, just itchy. The plaster's itchy. And the edges of the blades.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah,
Because it's all
yeah.
healing and then he's
Yeah.
had it on there a long time, hasn't he? So it's
I just thought it was a bit weird having that much leaving the same bandage on for 2 weeks. Just to me seems weird.
like my daughter when she had a
Oh
carpal
yeah,
tunnel.
she had a tunnel.
She kept saying to me, she said, can I take this off? Can I take this off? What did they tell you? She said to leave it alone. So I said, well, leave it alone then. You can't take it off. She had it on there for a fortnight.
Oh, it must be the new thing then.
Yeah.
That must be
I
the
know
new
I
thing.
didn't. I was allowed to take mine off. And they gave me new ones to put on.
Right.
But now, or when she had hers done last year, they told us to keep it on there. So,
It must be the new thing. Yeah. Must be. If you think about it, it makes sense. As soon as you open the wound to the air, you open it to infection. But if you leave it closed to the air with the seal, if it's sterile in there, it will stay sterile
yeah.
in there. Because
Yeah,
you
so
can't
turn to
shower.
persevere and keep it on.
You can't shower. It's there.
Mm.
Oh, it's there. No showering. I've had to wash his hair. Every time I walk by him now, I go,
Slow.
which is so unfair, because of course he does.
Stand him up in the bar. People are what?
Oh God, I'd never be able to reach him, would I? Can you imagine?
He's too tall.
Oh, it's ridiculously tall. Well, what colour do you reckon we'll do first? I reckon the orange.
I reckon you do the red on the top.
Yeah?
I'm sorely tempted to do it, but I'm not going to.
He's got a lovely beady little eye.
Mm.
Yeah, it's a really nice little eye, that, isn't it? That's really
How
dark.
do you get it to look like it's feathered though?
Yeah. I think I'm going to go on the it's a bird, so I'll assume they're feathers.
Hmm?
It's a bird, so I'll assume it's a feather.
Oh God, no. Oh dear, okay.
It'll be fine.
Pardon?
It'll be fine.
I know. I'm sure it won't. There we go. Completely wrong.
Oh, Barry, fall asleep here. Warm, isn't it?
Yeah. There's no heating on, so it's just us. All hot air.
Lady.
That bowl of fruit looks nice, doesn't it? Up
Yeah, it's a
there?
little dog there.
Yeah,
Do you reckon that's acrylic?
I think so.
It's a bit gorgeous.
Yeah.
Yeah, because we've just put the shadow on our
Yeah.
the highlight on our
Yeah, the acrylic.
that portrait yesterday.
Very comfy.
Stop it, Marie.
Just who's that kind of guy anyway, isn't it? 3 o'clock.
Original.
Should have the sandwich up.
A cake. And then we'd all be on a sugar high. And then as soon as we finished, it would crash as we tried it.
That mauve is beautiful. Can't forget that beautiful mauve.
It's got to be crimson and blue, hasn't it?
Has he all been to the chocolate place yet?
Yes.
Hot chocolate.
Oh, have
Yeah.
you?
Oh, no, no.
Oriental chocolate. Do you want to spend £5 on a cup of drink?
Well,
It's
you don't think it's good value, is that
Well,
what you're saying?
You get the cup's only about that big, and then it's 50p for a load of whip on
Squirty
top.
cream.
Squirt. Well, no, it wasn't. It was like a bit like an. It was quite solid, and you could eat it. It was like a mousse.
Ew.
It was very sickly.
Yeah.
And
then-
this is
then
what
you
I've
get-
heard, it's quite thick and sickly. I mean, I don't have
very
I'm not a
expensive
chocolate
in there,
person,
though,
I
isn't
don't
it?
know.
Sorry.
Very expensive.
Well, the
in
cup
there.
of hot chocolate's £4.50, but you can become a regular VIP person, which was instant, and get 20% off. So I did that.
Oh, wow.
I don't think I'll be going there much.
That's the one on the way to the motorway you're talking
Yeah,
about.
next to Costa.
Used to be, is that next to the steak place or something?
Yeah,
Yeah.
Ben and Jerry's or something. No, it wasn't Ben and Jerry's. Frankie and Benny's.
I've never been there, is that any good?
I went there once and no, it wasn't, but I think that was a staffing issue. So I don't
Oh.
think it's fair.
Well, they were cooking it, weren't they?
No, it was the serving staff. And it
Ah,
was,
right, okay. Yeah.
that wasn't good. But
So was that red and blue?
I've just done red and blue and that's all I've got. I've done
If you
crimson.
went out into in Banbury for a meal, where would you go?
Into Banbury.
If you went, where would you go? Well, not cheap jam, but
That
where would you
Italian
reckon
place
you
up
could?
there?
Italian place
At
across
the
there.
top of
Oh, I've been there.
Yeah,
Pizza calzone.
that's good.
Um,
I do like that.
The auctioneer is quite.
Yes, the
Which one?
auctioneers.
The pub across the road there.
Yeah.
Oh, the old
The old
Auctioneer.
auctioneer, whatever
Oh,
it's
yeah.
called.
Yeah.
okay.
My favourite place goes out in, oh no, you see, I can't remember where. Chandler's Arms, I think it's Epwell,
Where?
and that is absolutely superb.
Where's that?
food. I think it's Epwell.
Frickborough.
Epwell,
I don't know where that was.
Chandler's Arms. That is superb food.
Epwell. Where was
I
that?
think, do you know what I'm saying? Chandler's Arms, and now. I'm
It
thinking-
doesn't. No, but
Now
I mean,
I'm
it's at
thinking I'm right.
Epwell. Is that what you said?
Yeah,
Where's Epwell? Then?
out
Where
of
is it?
Banbury.
Up one of the roads out of Banbury, yes.
Yeah,
Number of times
Oh,
I head out of Banbury up the wrong road that I didn't
Yeah.
mean to be going out.
Yeah.
I'm like, oh no, this isn't the right way to be going out of Banbury.
I get the Warwick Road in the south and
Yeah.
mixed
Mm.
up.
and start going up and down.
Ridiculous.
No, this isn't where the herb
To
centre
go to
is.
the herb centre, yeah.
I'm going the wrong way.
Epwell. Chandler's Arms in Epwell.
Which way is that, brother?
I'm
Is
just
it
gonna find
Southern
out.
Road or
If I
Warwick Road?
Is it the Broughton Road, isn't it? I don't know.
Broughton Road. That's
right,
that's
you go
Tap
okay, you go west.
west.
Yeah. So that's Epwell and that's Banbury.
Can I just open over
Yeah.
a bit, just a second? Thank you. Oh, you go through past the Horton General. Oh, it's past Shutford.
Yeah,
Right, I know what road you mean now then, yeah.
Yeah.
Right, yeah.
absolutely.
That's going, that's near Stratford Road, that way, west, isn't it?
No, Stratford Road goes pretty much north from here.
Warwick Road, it's the old
Warwick
Warwick, yeah,
Road,
sorry, yeah. Oh, right, no, I know, it's Shutford, wasn't that where Gary, shut that door. He lived, didn't he?
Gary Glitter.
Gary, what was
Gary
it?
Glitter.
Grayson.
No, not Gary Glitter. Shut that door.
Larry Grayson.
Larry Grayson.
Yeah, he lived at
Yeah.
Shutford, didn't he?
Yeah, I think so.
Yeah.
But no, if you want really,
That lady from Crossroads used to go and
Yeah.
stay with him.
if you want really, really good food, that's. But you've got to book,
Oh, right, that's interesting.
and they just do a set menu. There's no choice.
Well,
Have
you
you ever eaten in the Three Pigeons?
you thought that was
No,
very
I
good.
haven't.
Marie, that's
They're
a
always,
beautiful
s-
background.
Thank you.
Thank you. Lots of
It's beautiful.
Isn't it?
It's fun.
Cauliflower.
Cauliflowers, cauliflowers.
No broccoli, cauliflower.
Mm-hmm.
Normal. Well, I like your stuff during all that.
skips. Which Johnny Dodge that?
Yeah.
You may not know, thank you.
Thank you. Gonna Mickey down?
No, thank you.
I do have to say, the dentist, she's very good because it is only minor and it's already going off, and the pain's not even there now. So that's not bad. You pay for it though, didn't you?
Yeah.
For 280 quid, I'd expect a bit of pampering.
Which
Really?
one's that then?
I'll go to Amstel and Wilkins on the high street upstairs.
Oh, John?
I have Maddie.
Oh.
She's a fairly new one there, I think, because the
I had
dentist.
a
I
bit of a problem with them.
I had Damien before, but he's moved to Cornwall, which is sad. Right, I'm going to go in with my black or Payne's grain. I'm just going to do his eye with a little brush. And I'm going to leave a tiny little bit of white showing for the reflection. Because then that's done, isn't it? I could have done the lifting. I'll lift out with a clean damp brush because I need a bit more light in there.
This one's just the black.
Yeah. Just the black. Although his eyelids are very pale grey, isn't it? So you could do the black with a bit of water for that. It's amazing that. And then he's got another black bit in feather around. Right, while I was waiting for Kathy, I've to make the drinks, I've found somewhere for the watercolour stand.
Oh, good.
I've now got to find somewhere for the stuff that I moved out of the way to make room for the watercolour stand. But that's how it goes, isn't it? I shouldn't really be doing all this black first, but I want to. Get it out of the way. Do you know, I can't believe we're halfway through March.
I know.
I really can't.
Gone so quick, isn't it?
So if I go in while that's drying, I'm going to go in with my middle size brush, my number 4 round I've got here, and for the beak I want the cadmium yellow and a little bit of cadmium red because it's more of a yellow orange.
Cadmium red,
And cadmium yellow.
which of most of
Do you know what? I think a bit more yellow to start with because you can add more red later. Because the red's quite punchy, isn't it? But that's a bit. I think I need to add a bit more red. Actually, that's a bit too yellow. Oh, now it's a bit too red. As I was saying, the cadmium red is very punchy.
Oh my goodness.
I would definitely love. I bet the chances of seeing these are quite slim. Do you think?
I would imagine so.
I mean, I know they're colourful, but I bet they have to sort of keep a low profile. Roger's doing really well with steps. He's doing like, when I walked in this morning from the dentist, it was like 8:15, and he'd already done his 11,000 steps for the day.
Wow,
He's really on it at the moment.
that's really good of him, isn't it?
I think he's been doing it for a week or so. That's serious dedication. I need to slim down. Now I've started eating healthier. I wanted to do it a bit at a time. I've started the healthy eating, and then I'll do a little bit more vigorous, any exercise really, because I don't get time to do much. I don't want to lose lots. I just need to make my trousers comfortable because I can't afford new ones. So it's either one or the other. Actually, a yellowier version of that beak would be good for that cheeky bit, wouldn't it? This one here. And then flick down.
You can't actually see where top and bottom beak join, can you?
You can't really. Right at the tip, you've got that little hint, but other than that, he's not got like a really dark line to divide the two parts of the mouth. There's a little hint there under the eye,
Yeah.
but the beak goes right into the eye, doesn't it? I think I needed to put more black.
the same orange on that other bit.
With a bit more yellow, yeah.
Bit more yellow.
And actually, while you've got that, you can do, there's a little bit there and a little bit there. And I've only spotted that from the photo. But we'll do a lot of this wet in wet, because that way it'll look pretty. And it means we can be done in time. It's more of a loose painting. see the owners or the former directors of the Crooked House of trying to get a planning permission for near here for a fishing village.
Are they?
Yes.
Good for them. Wish them joy of it.
Hmm?
Wish them joy of it.
Yes. I think
What are they trying to get?
they're trying to get planning permission for a huge fishing village, but the problem is they're now linked to 2 sites of arson. Every time things don't go the way they want, they just set fire to everything, which is not ideal really. Since they've also got to put back the Crooked House before they do anything else, and they've only got 3 years to do it.
Think they'll actually do it.
Well, I think whoever buys the land from them will have to do it. So it's just, if they don't, they're scuppered either way, aren't they?
Yeah.
And it serves them right. You don't just go around setting fire to buildings and knocking them down. I'm glad. You know, even if it doesn't get built, I'm glad a precedence has now been set, which will stop landowners from destroying. I mean, it wasn't listed; it was on the cards to be, which is always the case, though, because that happened locally with the Manbury Cake Shop in Parsons Street. The Sunday it was due to have a preservation order and a heritage order put on it on the Monday, so they took it down on the Saturday and Sunday.
Wasn't that shocking? And what a lovely building.
Beautiful old building that took down in the 60s. Where Fashion Fabrics was, that was Brown's Cake Shop and Tea Room, and it was a really ancient cafe. It was almost like the Reindeer, but opposite. It was really old. So yeah, just before they were going to do something about it, it
I
got
always thought
took down.
that cake shop was the one that went into the precinct. Actually.
Ah, no.
I know it is.
Yeah.
I always thought it first.
It's
I thought
similar.
it was
Yes.
Because it closed and then it opened in the precinct, didn't it?
Yeah. It's there's a lot of buildings like that where they try to circumnavigate the things by destroying it the day before something happens to it. Really naughty. So if I mix a more reddish orange from the cadmium red and cadmium yellow, that should give me his little spiky hair. Although I think I could go a bit darker, more of the red, but there's still a little bit of orange in there, I think.
He's got quite a red head, hasn't he?
He is. We like redheads.
Well, obviously.
Being one myself, I think
I've never known.
I'm a bit although somebody was surprised that I was a redhead. They see me as a brown head. But it has got a lot darker as I've got older. So as I'm working with that, I'm going to move to the crimson because it gets a bit crimsonier around the iron cheek. And then we've got lovely ultramarine blue in there as well. It's so beautiful. I think that sort of magenta colour is going to be a little bit tricky. Although, oh, do you know what? We could cheat a little. I'll lift that off.
What am I going to do then?
Wow. For these sort of purpley pinky colours, they're a bit there and a bit there.
Ah, right, okay.
What's this for?
It's for his pinky bits.
Hey?
Would you like a bit of aquamarine?
Oh, it's to go in his.
pinky bits.
These pinky bits. Would you like a little bit of opera rose, Bill, or are you all right? Is that one? Yes, it looks it, doesn't it? Because it is quite a magenta-y colour.
We've got the alizarin crimson.
Yeah. A little bit pinker. It might make a different purple with the ultramarine. That's artist's quality. This is the Rosa artist's quality. But this is the tube. Mind you, the tubes are only $3.99. Doesn't show up on the screen, but it's definitely there. And then ultramarine for that blue bit.
Right, so where do we put that, Mo?
I've got it there. It's not there. It's not showing up on the screen.
Oh.
But it is. It's right before the blue.
You just put it on.
Yeah. You could mix blue with it, but I don't think you need to. Oh. And then that's white, so I'm going to leave that white right off.
I don't think I've used it yet, but it would be that area there.
It's on the red, isn't it?
Yeah.
I'll be back in a second. It'll show up more for his back, you see. Can you see that between his wings?
Yeah.
And then I've got blue. Is that just ordinary glue?
Ultramarine.
Eh? Just ultramarine.
Yeah. Marmy. Here, Marmy.
Yes, they will.
And then he's got orange feet.
Orange feet.
Right. I'm going to put that pink in down his back now, I think.
What is that the Rose Madder?
Yeah, the Opera Rose. Opera Rose. I could drop bits of ultramarine in it and that'll make beautiful purples as it gets lower down. It's not showing up as pink on the screen as it is in real life. And then if I go in with the crimson around it, and then the orange.
On your teeth.
A mini sneeze. Micro sneeze. So then the outside of that I'm doing in crimson. And then the tip of it's back to the orange again, isn't it? So colourful. And it's fine to let all the colours just run together a little. I might as well do his foot orange as well, what you can see of it. I wonder what they sound like, because normal kingfishers have a sort of, they don't have a song. No, they don't make, they make sort of a chirrup, but they don't have a melodious song like other British birds.
And then it's orange, isn't it?
Orange for the bottom bit of the tail, yeah. I'm just faffing. Well, the background took quite a bit longer than it needed to, but you've got to have the background in to do the thing. But I have had to go missing twice.
It's more of a reddy orange, isn't it?
What, on the tail? Yeah, it's like a dark reddy and then a reddy orange right at the bottom. You can use crimsons or reds in that, you know, orangey reds. There's a right mishmash. A mishmash of colour. That's him pumping his chair up, by the way. You know, they've got a pneumatic thing in the tattoo studio to raise and lower the chair, so that's... We hear that several times a day. I think we're one of the quietest lot in the building. We don't make a lot of noise. Except for Wednesday afternoons, absolutely. He was a little bit more timid this week. Slightly. Some weeks it is a little feral. And there's the ultramarine feathers on his back that I'm going to put on next, I think. Or sort of shoulders, I suppose, isn't it, than back? And that is just going to be neat ultramarine. So beautiful. Just the blue on its own, that is.
How did you make that mauve again?
I just used the opera rose that I gave you, just a little bit of it. Where are you, down his back?
What colour would it have been? Would have been blue and
Which one?
the mauve.
Opera rose.
Opera rose.
I've used that.
Oh, do you want a bit more?
Yes, please.
I know I'm really going to get rid of this, the red over there. Just the red.
Yes, please.
Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Well, these all look like Oriental Dwarf Kingfishers so far. So that's good, isn't it? I'm going to see if mixing a bit of white gouache with some opera rose will give me a few more highlights. But the trouble is, once you start mixing white gouache, it changes the colour of it. And it kind of deadens the colour because of the chalk in it. But I don't know if it will.
What do you reckon the colour of those dark feathers is?
Well, I think it's purple, isn't it? It's kind of a
Either purple or Payne's grey.
yeah. I think if we added purple and a little bit of Payne's grey to it, that might
What's this for?
his darker wings.
Yeah, because it's like,
Because it's definitely not black, is it? But it's also not purple. Let me mix up a purple from Cad Red and Ultramarine. Although have I got a purple mix?
Ooh, that opera rose.
Yeah.
Payne's grey.
Oh, does that make a nice colour?
Yeah. That's yummy.
Does it make that colour or?
I think so. Look.
Oh, it does actually. Opera rose with your black, the colour I gave you with a bit of your black tone. It does, yeah, that is the right colour. Because often you'll find that the colours are all related. It's the same with flowers. The colours are all related. The leaf colour is present in the petal colour. And I think it's kind of the same with birds. I don't know. I should do a paler wash with this, so more water, and then go darker. Otherwise, you're having to do lifting out for highlights.
Yeah.
It's quite hard to preserve the blue straggly feathers. You've got to cut into them, but it's easy to lose that. But a bit of white gouache with some ultramarine might salvage. I've forgotten what next week will be. Let's have a look. I'll just let you know what next Thursdays will be while it's in my head. What's the wrong lesson? Oh, a Misty Lane. You haven't done a Misty Lane for a while.
what we doing?
A Misty Lane next week?
Yeah. Trees.
Probably.
What do you mean probably?
There's got.
You know it will be.
You know I love a tree.
So do I after last week. No, yesterday.
Yesterday. Yeah, Marie did some lovely trees, Dee.
She did, I saw them.
I saw them. I was chuffed with them.
This morning in the pastoral class we were doing summer
What
tree
are we doing? Putting a
practice.
A wash of that opera rose and
Payne's grey.
and Payne's grey.
Yeah, we were doing summer trees in pastorals this morning, and we just did. We did 3, just trees with a tiny bit of background to practice because everyone struggles, and they all said how, because when you're doing a whole painting, you don't often think about how trees are shaped, and then you go into your default, I know what a tree looks like, you know, brain setting. And today everybody's trees all looked totally different. So of 3 trees, each tree looked different, which I said is a bigger win than you're giving yourself credit for. Because often you start painting whatever it is you're looking at, and then you stop looking at it, don't you?
Yeah.
And then you, whatever it is really, even if it's portraits, and it's stuff that you should look at, but you don't. You just go, no, I know what it's like now.
There's a saying, isn't there? Paint what you see.
Yes, absolutely. I mean, I've seen no end of psychology studies in that back that up. There was a famous one in the 70s. Albert Bandura did one, and it's called Occlusion, and he basically told the children a story. He had some models. He had a wall, and a policeman toy, and a robber toy, and the robber was on the run from the policeman, and he hid behind the wall. Then the policeman caught up with him and stood in front of the wall, and they asked the children to draw it, and most of the children couldn't see the robber, but they either drew him on top of the wall or by the side of the wall, because they knew it was there and they felt they had to put him in. But we do it with, like, if you're looking at a still life, a bowl of fruit or whatever, and you know there are some grapes at the back, the tendency to just make them peep over a little bit because we know they're there is really strong. So we still do it as adults, and that's called occlusion. Gosh, every day's a school day, isn't it? I enjoyed that side of studying psychology. And language acquisition I found fascinating. You know, how, I think it was Coco the chimp, how they gave her, she was really good with sign language, Coco the gorilla, and they gave her a toy gorilla, and she started holding and forming its hands to form signs, so she was training it to speak. She was a very famous gorilla in America, Coco. And as she died, she signed that humans are selfish and they need to look after the planet. Amazing. Her final words were just... Yeah. It was a final warning, really. I think she died in the late 90s, early 2000s. I think there was something where she couldn't be released back into captivity or something, so she was just there, and they taught her to sign to help with communication, I think. But she really ran with it. They are. You could get lost in this, couldn't you? But I'll have to tell you to get lost soon because it's 20 to 4.
The sense of humour is definitely coming back now.
Well, yeah, it's all wore off now.
Yes.
I'm not incapacitated any longer. And you can outline the feathers with just neat Payne's grey as it's drying. You don't have to wait for it to dry. because you want it quite soft and subtle, otherwise it is something that you'd have to spend a long time on. But there's nothing stopping you, you know, doing more to it when you're at home. Such a beautiful creature. I have to say, I hadn't really heard of them before. I saw this image and then I thought, you know what, that would be absolutely lovely for a class. And I think watercolours is probably the better medium for it. We wouldn't be able to do it in oil, not well enough. And I don't think it would, I think it would be quite troublesome in acrylics. How you doing, Dee?
Holding my breath a lot.
Yeah.
Yes, I am too.
I'm doing a lot of breath holding here.
I'm not breathing. Oh dear.
A lot of breath holding going on.
I've got a paint and prosecco tomorrow night.
Ah, what is it?
It's a moon gazing hair in acrylics.
One of them's.
Yeah. Yeah, you've not been on any for a while, have you?
I didn't book on, which was my mistake.
I think I'll have a look one time and see. I'll message you to see which ones we've currently got a couple of spaces on. To see if any take your fancy. Because we often get, as you know, we have to overbook
Yeah.
because we get often 2 or 3 that don't turn up. I don't know what I'd do if everybody did turn up, because I can't really accommodate them all. But if I don't overbook, we'll be running at a loss, or certainly not breaking even. Because some of the we've got one coming up where it's a wooden tree shape, and each leaf you decorate with a family tree name, you know, a name for your so you make your own family tree.
Oh, cool.
So we've got that coming up soon. I think at the end of the month. Maybe I've got 2 this month. I don't know why I did that. But the trouble is, they're so popular, I can't really afford to not do them.
Oh.
But equally, it does mean that I'm having to work 3 or 4 nights a week, plus, at the moment, 7 days. Which is a little bit tiring, I have to say. Because we did a lovely Mother's Day class on Sunday. And then we've got our normal watercolour class a week later this Sunday. So I don't really see my family or anything because I'm here. They'll have to start booking onto classes, won't they? So they can see me. So it's just for me, that mossy, twiggy, branchy, loggy thing. Oh, I just finished my tea. I'd forgotten about that. And I've just remembered I'm parked on the old auctioneer today because I'm having to get to the dentist. So that big empty box that came with my stand I can take home with me. To stop it. Well, I'll have to throw it away at some point or burn it in the wood burner. Because I haven't got any space to store it in the shop. It's amazing how the colours aren't showing up at all on the screen. It's funny that.
Only a twig in. Ready?
What twig?
Only a twig in.
I haven't done it yet.
Oh.
I think it's going to be a wet in wet of sort of yellows, browns and greys and greens. I don't want it too green because it needs to stand out. But I think I will do it wet in wet. See if I use my big brush to give it a bit of a wetting. Where I've lent on it, the oil from my skin's kind of made the paper less responsive. So I'm going to have to go over it a little bit with the brush just to get the wettage back. And then if I mix a bit of the cadmium yellow with some burnt sienna, it'll give me a sort of biscuity colour, which I'm just going to plop in on the branch. And then I think maybe I need a new burnt sienna because mine's running out. Burnt sienna with a bit of the Payne's grey to make a dark brown. If you've got a dark brown already, use that, because my burnt sienna is a little bit ginger. And I'm going to start from the bottom, which is the darkest part. And do some sort of feathery stripes so it feels like wood. And keep gradually getting darker, because don't forget you start from your lights and you start getting darker with watercolour, so I'll go even darker now. Slightly less running. See, I might drop a bit of green in there while it's damp to make it mossy, but I'm going to keep it loose, and then that'll give me nearly 10 minutes to titivate anything that's gone wrong, or hide what's gone wrong, so none of you lot realise that I've messed up. You see, his beak on mine isn't standing out as much as I would like, but I don't want to outline it. That's the danger, isn't it, with this kind of thing? And am I thinking too much about it, or not thinking enough about it? That's not true. I'm an overthinker. I think too much about everything. But I think it might need a little thin brownish just underlining that beak. A bit of orange in there. It's a bit better. I've never known you lot so quiet on a Thursday. It's because Dee hasn't been able to breathe, isn't it?
Yeah.
It is coming up to 4 o'clock. It's my shopping day today. I need to see if I can get to nothing but Footprints and the butchers before they close. Oh, well, do you know what? Steve Betts has been cutting me some minute steaks, and they're so tasty.
Yeah.
Really, really lovely. And then I get some diced chicken, because I cook that, and then I have that on my sandwiches for half the week, for most of the week, on my homemade bread. I know. I'm very fancy, you see, Heather.
Is that what you call it?
Yeah. Well, I don't like cooking, and I don't have time for cooking, but I equally don't actually have a hobby anymore, because all of my hobby is now how I make a living. So I thought, well, maybe cooking can become more of a hobby, but I still haven't worked out how I can do it with the little time I have. But I need to start falling in love with cooking or just making things, because you know, if there were other people in the house,
Swings are just.
I wouldn't mind doing it, but when it's on your own, you feel like you can't be bothered. Yeah.
Thing is, it's not like a little tiny thing that we like on the front.
They're little tilly things down there.
It's that dry.
It's going to be beautiful, Marie. Your background is absolutely stunning, by the way.
Oh, thanks. Wait till you see the bird. Marmaduke is finished.
Marmaduke.
Marmaduke, is that what you've called him?
Yeah, Marmaduke. We've got an orange beet and marmalade. So they called him marmalade.
He can change his name.
Yeah.
Marmalade.
You're his mother. You know.
I don't like his wings, Barry.
You don't? Why? What? Do you want to see it on the screen?
I like it a bit more tomorrow. I like his wings.
No, I do love that background. Let's see.
Oh, he's quite sweet, isn't
He
he?
is. I think that's lovely.
He's got chubby
Yeah.
cheeks.
You've got the colours lovely. You've got a nice delineation for that pale cheek. You know, the yellowy
Yeah.
cheek.
Yeah.
Mine doesn't do that.
No, I think I've got
That's
the colours
nice.
right. It's just
You have got the
the
colours right.
wings, I can't
But
get
do you know what it is? You made them more pointy at the end, but his wings are a little bit more rounded, like a,
Yeah, Yeah.
more of a curve.
yeah, they are.
But you can round them out when it's dry tomorrow.
Yeah, I can.
That's lovely. Really lovely.
I'll work on that. Yeah, it's getting the right amount of wings in there, isn't it? Because there's quite a few. isn't there?
many wings. Just the two is
Wing,
fine.
wing.
Wing,
And a
wing,
red
wing.
ball.
Yeah, yeah. Give him the camera.
Yeah.
Good.
See, that's nice how you've done it, like that. And then, what did you do? That all black to start with, and then
Yeah, grey. All grey.
And then lift it out.
And then lift
and then
it
lift
out.
it out.
You see, the best brush for feathers
That's nice.
is this, which is a filbert,
Ooh.
because it's curved, you see. So it already gives you, I haven't used this on this, but it will give you a feather shape. If you were lifting out,
Yeah.
All right.
you can get your feather shape in.
Now he tells us.
Yeah, now it does.
Well, I don't know how many I've got in stock, so I didn't want to make a big thing about it, just in case I can't sell it.
Everybody wants one, and he ain't got it.
That's happened to me so many times.
Bit like
Be-
his palette.
Oh, don't. I know. I thought,
He's still not got any then.
I don't know if any's been in this delivery that I've had today, but Yeah, when I did the Kingfisher in shimmer paint.
You lost all your shimmer paint.
Well, I did, but I thought I'd got more in than we had, but we'd sold it from another video that I did. It is interesting. I mean, I'm not an influencer or whatever. We have got, you know, we're clocking up to what, across all of our social media channels, 40, 50, 60, 70, about 80,000 followers
Lovely.
worldwide across all of our social media channels. And it is interesting. I did a 1-minute video on a dip pen and how to assemble it. I've had 4 orders from that video alone on it. I did one on the Pilot Parallel pen doing italics. I've had 2 orders for those pens. So it's interesting. It does kind of, it does work. I mean, we're not, you know, if you scaled that up, if we had like 4 million followers, like some of the big influencers have or more, then I'd probably be selling 20 a day of things, whatever I do a video on, we'd be selling them. It can work, but it's hard work. You know,
a lot of extra work on top of what you're already doing.
it is a full-time job on top of teaching, which is a full-time job, on top of running a shop, which is a full-time job, and on top of singing, which is a part-time full-time job, and then managing social media it's hard. But I see a lot of creative people, businesses and artists going, oh, people aren't engaging with what I do, I'm giving up, it's a rubbish thing. And I have to say, it's because all you're doing is posting a photograph. You're not engaging with the people on there, and you're not, videos are the way forward. I don't like it, but it is the way forward. And if you want to build, you know, on Instagram, June last year we had 2,100 followers.
Yeah.
We're now over 30,000. And that's purely from me doing a video a day for 1 minute.
Yeah.
I don't put any hashtags on or anything like that, but it just throws it out to people that want to see it. So you have to put the work in. Now, it's hard because if I paid a social media person to do it, I'm losing out on money, but they might make more money for me. However, because they're not part of my brand, to be modern, they won't have the same personality as me or Jackie posting. And I think with a small business, that's what people want, the human side, because they can get the robot side from, you know, it's like Banbury Bid and Banburyshire Info. They use AI to generate all of their blurbs. Well, they've started doing their normal posts now are AI generated about businesses and about the town, and you can tell because it's very superfluous in how it's written. There are far more words needed than you actually need. It's like a child trying to impress in an essay where they're just saying all of the words where one would do, and that's great, but you know, they're paid nearly £200,000 a year. If they can't sit for 10 minutes and write a nice post themselves, then you just think, don't do it. Heather, do you want to see yours on the telly? So you have such a softness, haven't you? That's lovely.
I really do. Beautiful.
I love that branch.
He looks as if he's got his shoulders shrugged up round his neck.
What's not right?
Colours on his head.
I think
His shoulders are not.
they are, but they just need to be a bit darker because your colour is the exact colour of the highlights. So if you use the same colour again on the top, just little strokes in there, you'd get the featheriness of it. But I think that is lovely, really lovely. You've got another nice background. Caroline, are you pleased with that?
I'm not sure.
Let's see. I think you should be.
Better up there, doesn't it?
That's gorgeous.
Oh yes.
He's
Look
so
at those
cute.
feathers on his back.
Oh, look at
They do look lovely. You just want to go, ooh. I really like
I
that.
love you got his yellow cheek, right?
Yeah. I think that's the trickiest bit, that yellow
Yeah.
cheek.
I lost the white thing under the.
Oh, under.
I've coloured it in and then think, oh, that shouldn't have been stayed white.
It's really easy to just slip with your brush, or you see a blank bit and you want to fill it in. You could combat that with a bit of gouache or white gel pen. But I like your spattled background as
Your
well.
background's lovely.
That's really nice.
And your twig.
Yeah,
Look at that twig.
that's really nice. We don't see yours, D.
Okay.
Lovely.
Very nice.
Oh,
Yeah.
No,
What?
no, I don't like him.
Why?
I don't know. Those blue spots are wrong.
They're not. I don't think they are. This. Do you know what? Actually, they're slightly more sparse there, but all you need to do is put a bit more of that darker purple
Yeah.
just flicked in, because they're sort of speckled, aren't they? Those feathers. But that's
I like
right.
his head.
Yeah, his head's lovely.
I like his head, but you can cut his body off.
But you did that with the otters, didn't you?
I did. I chopped their body off. I chopped their heads off.
In actual fact, if you look at the photo, it looks like his head is shrunk into his neck.
But your colours are right. You see, if I zoom that closer, look
Yeah,
at
the
that.
colours are right.
The colours are right. Do you know? I don't think that blue is. Maybe a bit of the purple flicked in more,
Yeah,
but I don't think it's not wrong at all.
yeah, I'm not.
I like that.
He's also got a shaft of light going right into his head.
But that.
Drilling a hole,
No.
yeah.
But I think in just 2 hours,
Yeah.
you can't be too hard on yourself.
One on there.
There is. It's the
Well, I
rain.
didn't
The
mean to do it, it
the,
just-
the raindrops.
I think the reeds is absolutely fabulous. I love
Do you know? Honestly, I think you've. Do you want to see yours on the screen?
Yeah, can you turn around that way?
It looks better on the.
Honestly, it's a magic camera. This is now.
Makes it look a bit better.
And that's your first watercolour. That's.
Oh, well done.
Do you know what? That's not bad. First watercolour, 2 hours.
Well done.
Yeah, that's nice. That.
You like it? A little cutie.
Okay.
We'll
I
say
couldn't get
that.
the colours right. I can't get the colours.
The colour.
No, that's fine. I mean,
Yeah.
thank you.
The colour is tricky with this because there's so many and they're so vibrant. But I'll see if I can find my Misty Lane to show you what next week's is.
So do you reckon you'll join us again, Del?
Sorry, you told me.
Yeah, do you reckon you'll join us again?
And if you pay me not.
No, absolutely not.
That's who's on that for the picture over there?
That's a Barry one.
Oh, that's that's
Is that the actress?
yeah. Judi Dench. It was a class video. I think this is next week's.
That's
Look.
really good. Oh wow.
Is that we've got a dead tree?
Yes. So that'll be next Thursday afternoons.
Oh, that's a bit gorgeous.
It's not. It's showing up more brown on the picture than it is in the photo, and I kind of like that. It's very great. It is an autumn one. I thought it's slightly out of season, but I just really liked it. I'm sure that's the one. I haven't got another Misty Lane. No, that is that one. So yeah, we could make it slightly springish and put a bit more green in, but I like the brown tints. So yeah, that's next week. So Paul and I know Judy, you'll be doing it later. I look forward to seeing what you do. So take care. See you next week. Have a good weekend. Bye bye. Probably stay warm and stay dry or whatever the weather's doing at the